This is going to be a quick guide on how to scale your marketing agency to 10K months and beyond. This video is exactly for you if you're still doing outdated methods like cold calling, DMing random people on Instagram, and posting endless organic pieces of content and wondering why you have no clients. Not to mention that if you're a marketing agency but you're not actually using your own steps to acquire clients, isn't that kind of embarrassing? I'm going to be breaking down a simple 4-step process that's going to help you to get clients that are not only willing to pay you, but they're going to be so happy with your service that they end up actually referring their own friends and family to your service. Hi, I'm Marcus, and I've grown my own marketing agency from $300 per month to now $40,000 per month and beyond. I did this in less than 2 years, and I can tell you that I was literally once in your shoes, and if not in a worse position than you. I was literally begging people to let me just do free work for them, and now just less than 2 years later, I now have constant stream of leads that I can pick and choose from. Now that obviously took me some time, took me a lot of money, and caused me a lot of pain, but I'm here to help you to shorten that process through this 4-step process framework. And trust me, things can change really fast, so don't give up hope and continue to watch this video. Now, most people who are preaching about how to grow your business on social media are just gonna tell you generic tips like keep posting organic content. But let me tell you the problem with that. 2 things are going to happen. Now, number 1, you either start posting to oblivion and you start wondering whether social media marketing is real or not. Number 2, you go viral and then you start realizing that you have just attracted a whole bunch of people that are never going to pay you. This process that I'm going to teach you is the same one that I personally used to generate more than $200,000 in sales just this year, and it's still August, the year hasn't even ended. I even did this without having a ton of followers or even a ton of views on my own profile. You can go check it out at marcus.restive. But if not, let's get into the video. Super excited to share what I've learned. So a bit of background about myself. I've had no prior experience before I went into this industry. I did it more or less solo, and in 2 years I went from $300 to $40K a month. And now I have a team of 8 and working with 7-8-figure founders. So if I can do it, I think anybody can do it, right? And honestly, I made so many mistakes, and I've kind of distilled the whole process down to just a 4-step process. So if anybody is thinking about making a social media marketing agency, I would just use this video as a really quick reference guide to doing so. And take note, like these are the steps that I would have done in order to kind of scale to 10K per month fast. And these are the things that I wish I knew when I was starting from scratch. And I think if I known them, when I started, I would have been able to save a whole bunch of time and pain if you just listen to the advice that I'm about to give you. So let's get started on the why. Like, why do you want to start an SMMA, right? As you can see, like I'm literally recording this from my own bedroom. So I think that's one of the main selling factors, right? You don't need to pay any rent. Right? You don't need an office, you don't need any overheads, you don't need to hire employees at the start, you don't need fancy equipment. That's the first reason. The second reason is that you don't need any kind of prior degree or experience. Like I mentioned to you before, I didn't know anything about how to hold a video camera. I didn't know anything about editing. I didn't know anything about sales, literally nothing. And I still was able to start and grow pretty fast. So, this is really like something that literally anybody can do, as long as you're willing to put in time, effort, and you're also willing to make mistakes along the way. Now, the other 2 are, I think, something that is a huge selling point for why you should start a social media marketing agency. Basically, it teaches you 2 of very core features or core skills that you can use across any business. Doesn't matter if you don't want to be in SMMA for long, you can use these 2 skills in literally any industry, any niche that you want to go into in the future. And these are skills that you'll carry on for life. For selling as well, you get to sell like pretty high ticket offers. This will really train you on your sales skills. And these are skills that are going to be in demand. Doesn't matter which industry, right? So let's get into the how, right? So now that we've established that, this is exactly what you want to invest your time and effort into, now the hard part is how you're going to do it, right? And again, I promise you, I'm going to distill it into basically 4 steps that you're going to need to know in order to get from basically 0 to 10K. And if you're below 10K, this is going to get you to 10K as well. So listen up. The first step is really very important because you need to be able to think long term, right? You need to niche down, right? You need to understand what we call an ideal customer profile, right? And the reason why this is so important is because if you don't do this, you're just going to be fighting an uphill battle, right? So niching down is the first step that I think about when I first start this, right? The main bottleneck here, or the main kind of challenge here, is that you're probably going to be niching down in the wrong thing at the start, and that's basically what I did. I'm going to give you a quick example of what happened. I thought that F&B was the niche that I wanted to go in, right? And the reason for that is because I thought like F&Bs are the ones that need the most social media presence, the most like leads coming from social media. And in Singapore, where I'm from, F&Bs are always shutting down. So I thought F&Bs are going to be my client profile, the ideal client profile for me. But I failed to recognize that they can't do one very important thing, which is to afford to pay me. Those struggling F&B businesses, they have no money, and very few of them are actually going to be willing to pay. So there's three things that you want to look out for when you're determining your niche, right? Number one, does your ICP have a problem that they need solving? That's the most important thing, right? Secondly, can your solution actually solve that problem, right? You need to think about what that problem is, and whatever specific solution that you're going to pitch to them can actually solve it, right? Number three, can your ICP actually afford your service? This is so important because you could have the solution to their problem, but if you can't actually get them to pay you, then you don't have a service. You can't provide that service to them, right? So you need to understand these three things. And why is niching down so important is because it will be super helpful for you to eventually be able to target your marketing messages to target this specific ICP, right? There's always this saying, right? If you're speaking to everyone, you're also speaking to no one, right? I would say if you are starting out your industry, with no experience in any particular industry, haven't gotten any case studies, then I would actually say go broad first and then find your niche later, right? So this is exactly what I did. I started off with F&B. I kept pushing, trying out different industries, found eventually an industry that I thought fit the three criteria I stated, and eventually I niched down to that. Now all my marketing messaging, targeting, everything is to do with that, right? My case studies as well. So it makes everything easier. You're not gonna have to fight an uphill. It's gonna get easier and easier. Let's go to step two, right? Step two is getting clients, right? And I put here Meta Ads is goated. It currently is really goated. It's currently like the main source of all our lead flow. But the most important thing here is trying to get clients, right? Because you could have a niche, you could have all these grand plans, but if you don't have clients who are paying you, you don't have a business. So at the start, like the main thing that you're going to do is to grind for your first client. If you have a budget or set of funds that you can use, that if you spend your savings or whatever, and you're not gonna feel like every day you're so desperate, I would actually highly recommend to use Meta Ads, because Meta Ads is so powerful nowadays. You can literally use the AI to target your exact client profile, and you can basically generate quick leads, right? You don't have to go through that whole organic route of building a following, of DMing people, just like literally get leads coming in, right? But of course, I understand that's not everyone. Not everyone has savings or can just throw money at Facebook and Instagram every single day. So if you don't have those funds, I would say don't worry, because another method that you can use is obviously to do free methods, right? But it's also important that you do it in a smart manner, right? I can share with you at the start of my journey, I tried cold outreach through calls, DMs, etc. And honestly, most of those were ignored, right? It definitely is a skill issue, because I know some people who are super good at doing cold outreach and still get clients. But ultimately, it is still a numbers game. So you got to ask yourself, is this a skill that you really want to learn and that you really want to develop, because it's going to take you a shit ton of time, right? What I actually recommend to do first is to tap into your network, right? Literally pitch your service to your circle to see who might need this service, right? Even if it's not your direct ICP. And essentially, you're gonna get a lot of no's, you're gonna feel hurt because your friends don't buy from you, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, you're gonna do so much volume that you're gonna get your first yes. And what you're gonna do with that revenue is you're not gonna spend it on buying your girlfriend a new bag. You're gonna actually spend it by investing it back into your business. And what exactly you're going to do? You're going to put it back into Meta Ads, right? So from this first revenue from client 1, you're going to throw it back into Meta Ads so that you can get client 2, 3, 4, and you're going to let that flywheel churn. But even after you get your first few clients, you need to be able to do the next step, because if not, your business is still kind of done. I want to use a different word, but let's just use done. So step 3 is you need to do amazing work. You need to deliver well, right? And you can't escape this. If you have a solution that's not going to be able to help your clients solve their problems, it doesn't matter how good you are at sales. It doesn't matter how many leads you bring in. It doesn't matter how much you're spending on meta ads. Your business is still eventually going to shut down. And this is one of the first things my mentor warned me about, right? You see, the agency space is actually so small, and depending on where you are, like I'm from Singapore and it's so small, right? If you screw up a project, you overpromise or you botch a relationship, word is going to get around, right? People are going to know you as a scammer, as a really good salesman, but really lousy delivery, and your whole business reputation is going to get ultimately destroyed. So what I would say is stay in this small amount of clients first, figure out how to get good at delivery, and really get your hands dirty. I would say don't outsource or delegate yet, because if you do that, you can't control the quality and the results. And of course, it's really impossible to have 100% successful client satisfaction rate, but you want to keep that as high as possible, and you want to have the touch points between you and the client directly as much as possible, especially at the start, right? And if you make mistakes, which is completely normal, especially at the start, the main important thing here is to recognize that everyone makes mistakes, right? The worst thing you can do here is to basically start blaming, everything, right? Just take responsibility for it, and just say I apologize. I'm going to make it up to you by doing this, and constantly try iterate and just keep getting better at your craft. Once you have done, right, you've gotten a bunch of good case studies for your clients. You have done great work. People are going to start noticing you, right? People are going to say this is the guy that can achieve this outcome in this space. That's one scenario. Obviously, that's the best scenario because you're then going to get word of mouth. You're then going to get referrals. But the other scenario is that that's not going to happen, right? And it obviously does happen. Some clients don't just actively refer you, but either way, you're going to learn how to scale. And the reason why you need to learn how to scale is because you're not entering a business to sign up for a job. You're not going to be a glorified freelancer. You want to actually create a business that eventually can run without you, and that you can grow more than just, that few bunch of clients. And I would say this is honestly one of the toughest parts, because you want to start a company and you want it to have really good A players, what they call A players. But the problem is that most A players don't actually want to work for small unstable companies, right? They want the stability, they want the prestige. And so what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to kind of act like an ocean trawler, right? You want to basically scoop up as many people, and in that huge amount of power of people, you're going to find one or two that's really good, right? So one of the key concepts here is hire fast and fire even faster. I know that sounds like absolutely cutthroat. I'm probably going to get cancelled for this, but bad employees can really have a big impact on your business. Internally, it's going to mess up the morale, it's going to cause everything to slow down, and it's going to really screw up your client delivery, right? So really important, in order to scale, start building up a team, start hiring people, start training people, start seeing who you want to put into managerial roles, right? And essentially that's going to help you to get out of that freelancer trap, start growing your business, start earning the good money, and start eventually taking yourself out of business. So, bear in mind, this journey can get really exhausting. I've been doing this for nearly 2 years now. I think there are people who are doing this much longer than me, so I can't imagine how exhausted they are. But these are just some lessons I have. It can get exhausting, right? It will take time. You will get scolded a lot. You will need to put in the hours. You need to put in the reps. You need to put in the effort. You need to really kind of dig deep and find out your why as well. It's not going to take days. It's not going to take weeks. It's not going to take months. It's going to take years. I can tell you now that I'm here at the 2-year mark, all I can tell you is that I still feel like an absolute beginner, right? I'm not trying to do some false humility thing. I'm seeing people who are making 100K a month, million a month, and what they know versus what I know is completely different, right? And that's why it's so important to keep investing in yourself, to pace yourself out for the long term. It can get, again, really exhausting, but at the same time, it can be a really rewarding experience, right? So what I want you to do is to take it in your stride. Don't give up. Keeping ego away and just focus on the long-term game, on getting better, of refining everything, right? Not just how good you are at your craft, but on your business sense, on sales, just learning every single thing you can, learning from people better than you. And yeah, it is an extremely rewarding business model to go into. And I hope everything I shared here is helpful for you. But do let me know in the comments if there's any questions that you want me to answer, and I will promise that I will answer them.